They were the first to use the name, first to use the concept, first to deliver live action and animated versions, first to deliver toys, and they were the first to package all of that together with hardcore porn. Who you gonna call? Hi, I'm Dan Larson, and this is the history of Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is a 1986 animated series produced by Filmation, not to be confused with the 1986 animated series produced by Deke. Both are about bustin' ghosts. Both were put into production due to the success of the 1984 movie, but only one of them is the real Ghostbusters. It's a generational passing of the torch as Eddie Spencer and Jake Kong hand off their paranormal investigative business to their sons, Eddie Spencer Jr. and Jake Kong Jr., along with Tracy, the hyper-intelligent gorilla, and all of the incredible inventions he has developed to find and dematerialize ghosts. The business also comes with a spooky old house in the city called Ghost Command and all of the fabulous secret powers that it contains. It's got spectral appliances like the Ansabone, Skelevision, and Skelevator, which acts as a quick-change costume booth and appears to exist in a dimension between space and time. Oh, and there's Ghost Buggy Jr., who comes fully equipped with the ability to talk like Kit, transform like Optimus Prime, and travel through time like a DeLorean. It is one of the most powerful inventions, nay, beings in existence, and they probably could have explored that a little more in the show itself. Kong, Spencer, Tracy, and all of their ghost-nabbing gadgets are going to be needed to fight back against the trans-dimensional time-traveling powers of Primeval and his horde of evil witches, monsters, pirates, and futuristic, skeleton robots. Hopefully they all fall under the category of ghost, otherwise it's going to be a tough task for these Ghostbusters. Thank you to 80stees.com for sponsoring this video. Click the link in the description below and use code TOYGALAXY to get 30% off your order today. What's the first thing that pops into your head when I say the 1980s or the 1990s? Don't think about it, just say it. 1, 2, 3, Rubik's Cube. Yes, they have that, or they had that, or they will have that. 80stees.com is constantly refreshing their inventory with officially licensed t-shirts featuring characters, quotes, and logos from cartoons, comics, TV shows, movies, wrestling, and music from the 1970s through the 2000s. So while I can't guarantee that everything you can think of will be in stock, I can guarantee that you'll always be surprised by the range of their selection. 80stees.com has something for everyone. Your favorite heroes like Batman, Spider-Man, Mega Man, Deadpool, and Wolverine, Voltron, both Lion and Vehicle, Star Wars, Stargate, old and older Battlestar Galactica, Motley Crue, Biz Markie, Pink Floyd, and Jimi Hendrix. Find the shirt that's right for you, the one that speaks to your interests, and lets the world know that there's no bigger fan of scratch and sniff stickers, Spam, or Kellogg's Fruit Loops than you. And you can prove it because you're wearing the shirt. Click the link below and use code TOYGALAXY for 30% off your order today. Again, that's code TOYGALAXY for 30% off your order. And thanks again to 80stees.com. Lou Scheimer and Hal Sutherland began working together making cartoons in 1957. In 1962, along with Norm Prescott, they founded their own animation studio called Filmation, a portmanteau of the words film and animation. After their first big job, an animated sequel to 1939's Wizard of Oz called Journey Back to Oz ran into budget-related production delays. They focused on producing animation for television. But money was always an issue, and when things were starting to look grim on the verge of closure, Filmation was saved by the most powerful man in the universe, Superman. The New Adventures of Superman debuted in September of 1966 and was a huge hit. It established Filmation's budget-friendly style of animation that relied heavily on reused stock sequences or character movements. Superman's success helped open doors to other projects through the 60s like Superboy, the Superman-Aquaman Hour of Adventure, The Archie Show, The Batman-Superman Hour, The Adventures of Batman, The Archie Comic Hour, and The Hardy Boys. That success continued through the 70s with dozens of animated series like Fat Albert, as well as the Emmy Award-winning Star Trek The Animated Series, sequel to the original Star Trek live-action television series. At the same time, they produced live-action television shows like Shazam, The Secrets of Isis, and The Ghostbusters. The Ghostbusters was a live-action CBS Saturday morning series produced by Filmation that starred Forrest Tucker and Larry Storch, formerly of the television series F Troop. 15 22-minute episodes ran over one season from September to December 1975. The Ghostbusters are human partners Kong and Spencer working alongside their man-in-suit gorilla teammate named Tracy, played by Bob Burns. Yes, it would make sense if the gorilla was named Kong. No, I do not know why they assigned the names the way they did. Each week, under the guise of a paranormal investigation service, the Ghostbusters encountered a ghost or monster or creature that they would exchange hijinks with in a sort of live-action but sillier Scooby-Doo type adventure. The supernatural creatures would be dispensed by the Ghostbusters at the end of every episode using a variety of scratch-built ghost-busting devices like the Dematerializer. Despite being Filmation's second highest rated show behind another Filmation live-action series, the Shazam ISIS Hour, the Ghostbusters was canceled after one season and absolutely forgotten about for nearly a decade. In 1983, Columbia Pictures began production on a movie called Ghostbusters, written by Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis, about a group of paranormal investigators in New York City using various devices to trap ghosts. Columbia set a release date of June 1984 and hurried into production because a year isn't as much time to make a movie as you might think, especially one with all the visual effects that Ghostbusters required. Filmation executive Lou Scheimer found out about Columbia's Ghostbusters while reading a trade magazine. As he put it in a 2007 interview, quote, "I read it in the trades. I can't remember which trade it was. I said, that's ridiculous. That's our show. That's our premise. That's our concept." Now, the exact timeline of the events is a little blurry because things were happening so fast. So we reached out to Filmation historian James Eatock from the Serial Geek TV YouTube channel for some assistance and combined his reports with those from a 2014 Vanity Fair article about the making of the movie Ghostbusters. Filmation deployed their lawyers to find out what was going on with Ghostbusters and to see how Filmation could be financially accommodated if Columbia intended to proceed. Turns out Ghostbusters was shooting in New York City right up the street from Filmation's offices. First step, Filmation issued a cease and desist for the name Ghostbusters. As we understand it, Ghostbusters associate producer Joe Medjuck was on set when he received notice that there was a problem with the name being used in the film. Medjuck implored Columbia's legal team to clear the name as soon as possible because they had already spent so much money shooting scenes that had the Ghostbusters name prominently featured, and it would be a fatal blow to reshoot so late in the game. According to Eatock, Columbia executives Lou Scheimer and various attorneys attempted to hash out the details. Columbia stood their ground, saying they didn't see an issue with the name because they were making a live-action film, not a cartoon. Scheimer corrected Columbia's misunderstanding about the original 1975 Ghostbusters TV series. While Filmation was known for their animation, the series was, in fact, live action. Furthermore, the name and the associated premise were too similar regardless of the execution.
Everybody's so creative!
Ghostbusters the movie proceeded in the face of Filmation's legal action, released in 1984 and raked in ticket and licensed merchandise sales. Filmation, in turn, sued Columbia. They eventually settled the matter, allowing Columbia to use the name Ghostbusters for around $500,000 and 1% of the total profits from the Ghostbusters box office. Scheimer has admitted that he made two mistakes in the negotiations. One, the 1% of box office was equal to exactly jack and shit thanks to clever Hollywood accounting that makes $300 million look like a movie with a $25 million budget broke even. And two, Scheimer never insisted on exclusive animation rights. According to Scheimer, after the movie was released and the rights issue was resolved, he suggested to Filmation's parent company, Westinghouse, that Filmation should adapt the movie as an animated series. The executives at Westinghouse disagreed, saying they didn't think they needed to license anything from Columbia because they already had their own Ghostbusters concept they could use for free. After all, they had done Ghostbusters first. Scheimer knew that was a bad idea, saying in that 2007 interview, quote, "I think we need Columbia, because they'll have one, we'll have one, and nobody will know what's going on." And as it turned out, that's essentially what happened.
It's false. No way. Not this time. Not this time. No. Pure fiction. It's fiction. It's fiction. Not this time. It never happened. No way. We got you. Not a chance.
Filmation started production on Ghostbusters, an animated sequel to their 1975 live-action series, The Ghostbusters. As soon as Columbia heard about Filmation making their show, they reached out to Deke Enterprises and asked them to start working on their own direct animated adaptation of the movie, Ghostbusters.
Hey kids, it's time to play Bust the Baddies and Win the Goodies. Here comes the game's daddy. It's Rada.
After you've busted all 5 baddies, send your list to this address. That's Ghostbusters, Box 1100, New York, New York, 10150. You could win a computer from Computerland, or a Ghost Command Funhouse, or Ghost Buggy from Shopper Toys.
Bust the Baddies and Win the Goodies. Keep watching Channel 11.
Contest ends October 31st.
Filmation's Ghostbusters had a small but distinguished cast that included Pat Fraley as the voices of Jake Kong Jr., Jake Kong Sr., Ghost Buggy Jr., the Skelescope, and Robot Skeleton Scared Stiff, Peter Optimus Prime Cullen as Eddie Spencer Jr., Eddie Spencer Sr., Braddorat the Haunter, Floatsart, Big Evil, and Corpulon. Skeletor voice actor Alan Oppenheimer played Primeval, Fangster, Long John Scarecrow, and more. Susan Blue, known for her prolific voice acting in the role of Amanda Shepard in Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood.
I'm just a lousy doctor. You're a f***ing coward!
Played Belfry, Futura, Jessica Rae, and Time Hopper. Linda Gary, better known as Tila Evelyn in The Sorceress from Masters of the Universe, played Madam Y, Mysteria, and more. Lou Scheimer, as he frequently did on Filmation Productions, contributed several voices. He's all the gorilla noises for Tracy the Gorilla, and voices for Ansabone, Skelevision, Sir Transalot, and a bunch of others. Both Ghostbusters cartoons were produced at the same time. They each designed toys and made deals with retail partners. The race to be first to air on television was ultimately won by Filmation, whose debut episode aired September 8, 1986, just 5 days before Columbia's The Real Ghostbusters on September 13th, so named because of... Even if you've never heard of the original The Ghostbusters live-action TV series, the unrelated movie, and the subsequent dueling animated series, you probably don't need me to explain that there was brand confusion. As someone who was there, I can tell you that when the Filmation version came on with a gorilla and a talking, time-traveling, transforming car, I had the same reaction as every other kid who had seen the movie. What the f*** is this? And how are they getting away with it? In 1986, no one knew about the 1975 live-action television series. Long before the internet or even the proliferation of home video cassettes, the only way something like that would have made it into public consciousness would have been on a show like Entertainment Tonight, and no 10-year-old anywhere was watching that.
I was.
It was very clear very quickly that Lou Scheimer was right and that it was a total mistake to even try to stand in front of the tidal wave that was the real Ghostbusters phenomenon. Filmation Ghostbusters quickly burned through their 65 episodes and retired after one season, dematerialized into obscurity, just like the original. Filmation, makers of the Masters of the Universe and She-Ra Princess of Power animated series, had long since figured out the marketing synergy, tying toys and cartoons together, each promoting the other. A comprehensive line of Ghostbusters toys was made by the now-defunct Shaper Toys. Each of the main characters were represented: Jake Jr. and Eddie Jr., Tracy the Gorilla, journalist Jessica Rae, Primeval, Scared Stiff, Haunter, Futura, Mysteria, Fangster, and Fibface. There were multiple vehicles, including the Ghostbusters Ghost Buggy, Primeval's Bone Troller, the Time Hopper, and the Scare Scooter. Shaper even rolled out a playset version of Ghost Command, an elaborate, highly detailed, enormous playset to rival Castle Grayskull, Snake Mountain, or yeah, Kenner's Real Ghostbusters Firehouse. If you missed it the first time around, Ghostbusters was released in its entirety on DVD in 2007. It's not available on any of the streaming sites for purchase or rental, but you can watch the entire series on Retrobytes here on YouTube. It was also released on VHS in 1989, which is important to note for this particular property because it also happens to be hilarious. And it's not because it has the same name as another pop culture franchise. According to multiple news reports, some of the tapes featured an unintended bonus segment after the Ghostbusters cartoons. The Santa Cruz Sentinel reported on Wednesday, December 27, 1989 that, quote, "On Christmas Day, Mom left her 3- and 4-year-old boys in their bedroom watching a new cartoon video she'd bought them for the holidays, Filmation's Ghostbusters. A few hours later, she realized the kids were still watching the same cartoon, so she asked her husband to check on them. He found the boys watching a hardcore porno movie. They sent the kids off to another room and rewound the tape to find that the segment titled Squeal of Fortune started right after the cartoons ended and lasted about 10 minutes. Mom, who asked that her name be withheld from the article, told the Santa Cruz Sentinel that, quote, "It's Christmas Day and the kids are watching X-rated movies. I'm really mad. They didn't know what they were watching, but they watched it twice." The VHS tapes were distributed by Celebrity Home Entertainment as part of their Just for Kids line. They blamed the company they subcontracted to for cutting costs by reusing old cassettes instead of new blank cassettes, and didn't do the math to make sure that all of the porn would be dematerialized by ghostbusting. Celebrity Home Entertainment immediately recalled tens of thousands of copies of Ghostbusters from store shelves and checked the master tapes to make sure they were clean. But they weren't sure exactly how many tapes made it into the wild with porn on them.
Someone call the police!
Yeah, that's one idea. Or we could work as a team, find out whoever did this and punish him ourselves. Maybe take his bare butt out of his costume and spank him. Maybe you could do it, sir.
Needless to say, they, as a company, were very embarrassed by the incident. They offered replacement tapes for everyone who wanted one. In exchange for a 1-hour tape with porn on it, you could get a 2-hour tape with no porn on it. According to the Abilene Reporter News on November 30th, 1990, a full year after the incident in Santa Cruz, a Texas grandmother filed a lawsuit after experiencing a similar pornographic home invasion. A judge issued a restraining order prohibiting the toy store who sold her the tape from promoting the tape as fully animated and just for kids, because of the live-action porn. This story included the detail that the specific tape was titled Spirit Spooks and Specters, just FYI, and that the footage was grainy. From the article, quote, "This consumer found to her dismay, and after her grandchildren had viewed the film several times, that the film contains almost 10 minutes of sexually explicit scenes at the end of the feature presentation." Even after a full year, consumer protection groups were worried that more tapes were still out there and they might end up in the hands of young children, especially at Christmas time when home video sales increased. Another victim from Massachusetts said that her little boy was upset after watching the tape and that she, quote, quickly pulled it out of the VCR and explained that the Ghostbusters are not like that, and that the film was broken and she had to return it. We here at Secret Galaxy consider it our duty to report the full story. We ask the same questions you would ask. We knew what Ghostbusters was, but we had never heard of Squeal of Fortune, so we put our crack investigative team to work to find out. For journalism. For history. Turns out that Squeal of Fortune isn't the name of a movie, it's the name of a chapter on a longer, feature. A themed collection, if you will, of associated shorts on a 1988 tape called with other shorts like and another easily solved mystery, easily solved. Unrelated to that, James Eatock assured us that Lou Scheimer absolutely regretted the success of Columbia's movie Ghostbusters because the lack of Filmation's involvement at any level allowed Columbia to take the name as their own into the future, especially after Filmation was shut down by Westinghouse in February of 1989 and their library sold to a consortium owned by cosmetics giant L'Oreal. While Columbia's Ghostbusters went on to have a long-running animated series through 1991, another series called Extreme Ghostbusters in 1997, multiple cinematic sequels, several beloved podcasts, comics, video games, toys, mountains of licensed merchandise. Heck, as of this video, there's another Ghostbusters HasLab either just announced or about to be. Filmation's missed opportunity to capitalize on Ghostbusters as a concept and as a brand is the perfect illustration of a phenomenon that occurs thousands of times a day, every single day. It's that being first doesn't always mean being best, especially if you don't have anything interesting to say beyond the fact that you were first. Thanks for watching. Please hit like, hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you very much to those of you who already are. If you're in the position to help the channel grow, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/toygalaxy. Several different tiers to address your specific Secret Galaxy content needs. Check out our new shop, Secret Galaxy Merch. Check out our new Secret Galaxy merch shop at secretgalaxy.shop. All merchandise is in stock and ready to ship. Links to all of this in the description below, and let us know in the comments down below if you were as confused as every other kid in the country when Filmation's Ghostbusters came on TV. I'm serious when I say that I didn't know what it was or how it was possible in this country that prioritizes intellectual property so highly that it even existed. This is a story that I've personally wondered about for years but never bothered to actually look into. That said, while I love the original 1984 movie, I've never been a real Ghostbusters fan either, so as far as I'm concerned, it's a push on both brands. I'll wait for the third version. Maybe that'll be the one that hooks me. Secret Galaxies, the actual real Ghostbusters.